Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. Today is Thursday, August 21st. I'm recording this on Wednesday, August 20th, so if I mess up the dates, you're going to understand. But I have one question. I'm going to start out with a question. What the heck is going on with the Amputee Coalition? And the reason why I say that is Cass Isidro just recently announced that she is stepping down. She's stepping down when this comes out, tomorrow, August 22nd. She posted this yesterday, so it's a pretty quick turnaround for letting people within the organization, including, well, I'm sure people within the organization knew, but I bet you a lot of people who volunteer for the organization just found out about this, that she's leaving within the next couple days. That's kind of a slap in the face if you ask me. But this comes on the heels of Ashley White leaving the organization within the last few months. And again, this begs the question, what the hell is going on at the Amputee Coalition? I found a couple things very fascinating in her resignation letter that was posted on the Amputee Coalition Facebook group and a bunch of her Facebook page and a lot of different areas. I think she also posted it on LinkedIn. But let me read you something she said. Hello, friends. I'm writing today to let you know I've submitted my resignation with notice and spent the last few weeks transitioning my day-to-day work to the senior team and interim CEO. So apparently there's already an interim CEO. My last day with the Amputee Coalition will be August 22nd, which again, when I'm recording this, is tomorrow. And this is where it gets very interesting. The work of the last few years has been about restoring the Amputee Coalition to its original purpose with deeper community engagement, a solid commitment to support services, and serving as a spark igniting change that is needed across the country to support the limb loss and limb difference community. So, Cass Isidro, what the hell was going on within the organization in the last few years where they lost their way? That does not instill confidence in me as someone in the limb loss community. What was going on? It would have been nice for you to talk about that. To restoring the Amputee Coalition to its original purpose. Okay, thank you for letting us know that people that have been supporting, and I'm not one of those supporters, and I'll talk about that in a second. I've not really supported the Amputee Coalition. I did a television interview one time on behalf of the Amputee Coalition, and it was kind of a disaster from their perspective. They were supposed to send me a shirt. They never did. I had to make my own shirt and got on TV, thought the interview went well. Local affiliate out in Arizona. It's on my website. It's on YouTube. ABC 15. Never heard anything back from them. It's a good job, bad job, no coaching, no other opportunities. So I guess they just forgot about me, which is no problem because I forgot about them. But one of the things that I thought was very interesting, again, in reading her words, with my departure, I also want to shout out to the many volunteers serving as certified peer visitors, trainers, certified lead advocates, youth camp counselors, support group leaders, so on and so on. I mean, the list of people that voluntarily give up their time for the Amputee Coalition is a lot more broad than I ever knew. And I've had a lot of people on this podcast that are certified peer visitors. And I thought about doing that myself. But here's where I really kind of thought twice about it. And this goes back to 2022. Let me read you something that is required of you as a certified peer visitor. Of the many things, resume, applications, those kind of things. You need professional letters of recommendation. And here's what it says. Please submit 3 professional letters of recommendation, such as your prosthetist, other healthcare providers, a minister, or support group leader if appropriate, and upload it to this email address. Right, I'm not going to read the email address. Please note that family members cannot be listed as a reference. Well, here's the deal. As someone who's been in the limb loss community for many years, no one judges me. No one judges me about how well I do as someone in the limb loss community. No one does, and that includes the Amputee Coalition. I'm going to get references to talk about me as someone in the limb loss community? No, I'm not. I was done 3 years ago. I'm like, I ain't doing this because I can do other things, including having this podcast, including some things, very exciting news are going to be coming up probably within the next month or two that I can't announce now, but I'm doing whatever I can. And I know a lot of other people are doing whatever they can. So if you're considering being an Amputee Coalition peer visitor and you want to go along with it, great. God bless you. Continue forward. But if not, you have other things you can do to positively impact the limb loss community. The Amputee Coalition is not the be-all, end-all of people within the limb loss community. Being a peer support visitor, I've never been one, so I can't talk about the benefits of what it's like, but I can tell you the benefits of just getting off my own butt and doing my own things has been even more impactful as far as I'm concerned. So one of the things I do want to talk about, actually, you know what? Let me go to this first. So within the Facebook post, there are comments, obviously. And generally speaking, they're positive. I've never met this person, so I'm not going to judge her. I'm not going to judge Cass Isidro at all. It's not up to me. I've never met her. I've never worked with her. I don't know anything about what she did for the Amputee Coalition because I don't need them. And apparently others didn't either, because here's a few of the things, and these are they're live now unless the Amputee Coalition takes them down, but here's exactly what was written. So somebody named Bruce Finney responded and said, "Glad to hear about the changes. I looked at this group for direction 5 years ago and found that fundraising and lobbying were the main purpose at the time. Found nothing to help me focus on my next chapter in life as an amputee. I did get a lot from the Canadian counterpart, the Amputee Coalition of Canada, and Thrive magazine. Too bad for U.S. amputees." Wow. I mean, maybe this goes back to what Cass was talking about a few years ago. They lost their direction. That's disgusting. I don't think that's a good thing to brag about. I mean, if you want to make your resume look good and say, wow, we changed everything. That's not right. There's too many people that have given years of their life to this organization to say, just a few short years ago, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. I think that's a negative thing. And I, as a professional, I don't think that's the right thing to do. But that's my opinion. You have a different opinion? Please, anyone, not just Cass. If you have a different opinion, you're listening to this podcast, leave me a comment. Email me, mike@we'renotstumped.com. I just don't think that's professional. Here's another thing. Michael Wiseman wrote, "What is it that the coalition does? I've been an amputee for a decade and never found any use for this organization. A nice website that gives you info that a Google search can give you, but nonprofits," I'm not going to say what he feels about what nonprofits are. He uses a term that I don't want to say on here because it's his words, not mine, but I'm not going to say that. Now, someone named Brianna Copeland responded to Michael Wiseman, and here's what she said. "Michael Wiseman, it didn't honestly used to be like this. I've been volunteering at an event with the coalition for many years, and over the past few years, it's gone downhill. It definitely needs to be structured for sure, and I think she means restructured." So what Michael responded, Brianna Copeland, "I'm sure they receive millions of dollars meant to help amputees, but where's the assistance? They help themselves and have a job." And boy, to a certain extent, I think he's nailed it. And I don't know whether, I'm going to go over some things that are publicly available. I'll leave a link for people to read in the description, but you can go to irs.gov, look up charitable organizations, and look up Amputee Coalition and see all their returns. This one I'm going to read happens to be from 2022. So let me give you some of the numbers from 2022. This is the latest one they have. I can't look at 23, 24, 20. Well, obviously 25 is not over, but I can't. 23 and 24 are not posted yet. And I don't think it's just for this organization. I think for all organizations. So their contributions, this is line 8, contributions and grants. For the current year, 2022, $5.5 million. So they list with some other program services fee and investment income, $5.78 million. Now, their salaries on line 15 is $1.92 million, almost $2 million. Other expenses, this is line 17, come out to $4.7 million. So their total expenses at the Amputee Coalition for 2022, $6.6 million, which makes their revenue less expenses. Their revenue was negative basically $1.1 million, $1.89 million. And if you look at the prior year, 2021, that they have listed on the same return, their contributions, basically line 12, basically $3.7 million. Their salaries were $1.7 million. Their expenses were $4.3 million, giving them an annual revenue for 2021, as listed here, negative $615,000, negative $616,000. So that's an interesting way to do things. And just to give you an idea of what they are, I'm going to actually look at my screen here. If you're watching the video, I got some things in my hand. I got a screen going. I got one hand and I'm doing all this stuff. I mean, I'm doing it single-handedly and I am multitasking. It's always a lot of fun. So when you look at, this is on page 8. So if you go to page 8, if you want to follow along, some of the things they paid for in Section B under the independent contractors, they paid Avalier Health, LLC, and the description is for healthcare policy consultant, $300,000 basically. Tarplin, Downs, and Young for consulting and policy development, $216,000. They paid Springboard International for strategic development, $143,000. McCluskey Health Force for corporate counsel support, $125,000. And an organization called Anthology Communications, which is a marketing agency, $116,000. And then, oh, by the way, Anthology on their website still lists the Amputee Coalition as one of their clients, which is interesting because, one of the things too, and I'll say this in a very general sense, I know that John Register used to be, and John Register's been on the podcast. He was the interim CEO there for a little while. Matter of fact, he's listed in here, and I'm going to get to him in just a second. But he was part of the limb loss community, and I think it's kind of cool that you can have a CEO and president that actually knows the community and represents the community. It's really interesting. I'm going to read some of the names here as I go down on their compensation, and I don't know if any of the people listed here are part of the limb loss community. I don't even know if Cass Isidro is part of the limb loss community. I don't think Ashley White is. And it's great that they want to help, but you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I feel there's people within the limb loss community that could run this organization. Prove me wrong. Why can't you give someone in the limb loss community a chance? I know there are people qualified that would certainly do it for the salary that, salary of Mary Richards, the former CEO and president, I guess. In 2022, her compensation was listed at $272,686. $272,686,000. Basically $272,000, with additional compensation of $6,000, so right around $280,000. Ashley White, I don't know if she was there the whole year. She's listed at $41,000. John Register, as I talked about, he was the interim CEO and president. I guess there's going to be another interim CEO and president. They didn't announce who that is, but it's going to be interesting to see the tax returns for this year when they're going to be available, because John Register in 2022 as the interim CEO made $102,000 basically. And Tashika Walker, she is the chief operating officer for $70,000. A couple other ones, Zachary Hearn, the VP of Government Relations and Support, $121,000. And Jerica Thurman, Chief Strategy and Communications Officer, basically $120,000. I hope some of those people, if they're still with the organization, I hope they're part of the limb loss community. If they're not part of the organization still, I hope whoever replaced them are part of the limb loss community, because after all, if the Amputee Coalition is about supporting the limb loss and limb difference communities, why don't you look in the mirror and give opportunities to people within the limb loss and limb difference communities? I guarantee there's qualified people to do that job. As I close out, I have a couple asks. Number one, I'd love someone with expertise in reading these kind of 990 returns for nonprofits. I'd love for them to do a much more deeper dive than I can do when it comes to some of their returns. I can't do a deep dive within the Amputee Coalition. The only thing I do is what I did. I can only read the line items. I don't know if it's good, bad, happy, sad. I don't know that, but I'd love to have somebody with the expertise that can tell me that. Number two, I want some people that can come onto the podcast and talk about their personal experiences with the Amputee Coalition, because there's obviously some very mixed emotions about the Amputee Coalition, to the point that their CEO that's leaving tomorrow is saying that they lost their focus not that long ago. That's crazy. I mean, that's absolutely crazy to me. And I love the opinions of why you think these changes are happening. Why are people suddenly leaving the Amputee Coalition? And what do you think the future of it is? I need to hear that from you. Leave a comment. You want to come on? I'd love to have you on, whatever that takes. So that's it for this week's very interesting We're Not Stumped podcast, taking a look at the Amputee Coalition and see what is going on over there. I'm your host, Mike Boland. Everyone, have a great week.